State government advises community leaders to be truthful to their youths on land boundaries issues. Workers in the public and private sectors in the state will tomorrow mark International Labour Day. The federal government has directed security agencies to crack down on purveyors of fake news. And abroad, U.S. President Donald Trump marks 100th day of second-term celebration, attacks political rivals. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on the Delta Television main news at 8. Joy Ochei is my name, and I'm glad you joined us. Community leaders have been advised to be truthful to their youths on land boundaries issues to avoid promoting crisis in their areas. The special advisor to the state governor on peace building and conflict resolution, Chief Edwin Uzo, gave the advice during a fact-finding mission to Uveri, Olumu and Egodo communities in Uele South and Borotu local government areas over land boundary. Henry Onogwa reports.
Chief Uzo said the fact-finding visit followed petitions written by the two communities against each other to the state government over alleged land encroachment. He noted that the two communities had lived peacefully for decades, adding that the on-the-spot assessment by the state government was to confirm the evidences presented by the parties and encourage government to check crises in the area. The special advisor criticized stakeholders from the communities for not being truthful over the disputed land.
You, the leaders, you people should be conscious the way you speak. You should know how you talk. That you're a leader or that you are pursued to be one of the forefront liners of the community does not mean you should be hitting up issues. Let's maintain peace.
Chief Uzo said the peace team had visited the disputed oil drilling well, the Blue Star Gas Nigeria Limited, an oil exploration company sited in the area, the bridge, among other disputed sites, and charged them to present documents to guide the state government in taking a decision on the matter. He encouraged the parties to maintain peace until the state government comes up with its position on the matter.
We listen to the people. That's why I said there that your statement will be used in favor of you, may also be used against you. So that when you are talking, be careful with what you say. We've had all of you. We advise that everybody should go to his various communities and maintain peace.
The communities expressed satisfaction with the decision of the state government and promised to maintain peace. Henry Onogwa reporting.
The State House of Assembly House Committees on Special Bills and Peace Security will hold a public hearing on Friday, May 9 at the House of Assembly Press Center, Okpanam Road at 10 a.m. to deliberate on a bill for a law to amend the Delta State Community Security Corps Agency Bill 2025 meant to enhance the agency's effectiveness, accountability, and community policing in the state. A statement signed by the chairman of the Joint House Committee on Special Bills and Peace Security, Honorable Emeka Nwobi, says inputs could be submitted in oral or written form. The statement said inputs are expected from the Nigeria Police Force Delta State Command, the Department of State Services DSS, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Delta State Command, the State Ministry of Justice, Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, Algon Delta State, the Delta State Security Trust Fund, the Delta State Council of Traditional Rulers, the State Directorate of Political and Security Matters, Nigerian Bar Association, Delta State Chapter, and other stakeholders from the private and public sectors. It added that all memoranda on the bills should be in 30 copies, enclosed in a sealed envelope and addressed to the Chairman, Joint Committee on Special Bills and House Committee on Peace and Security, marked Delta State Community Security Corps Agency Bill to be submitted latest Thursday, May 8th. The Ughelli North, Ughelli South and Udu Federal Constituency Forum has expressed strong support for the defection of Governor Sheriff Oboriwori to the All Progressives Congress APC, describing the development as a bold and visionary step with great potential for Delta State and Deltans. Governor Bururi and the entire People's Democratic Party PDP structure in the state officially joined the APC on Monday, marking a new chapter in the state's political landscape. The chairman of the forum, Olorogun Jan Goma, the forum's unwavering support for the governor's political realignment, calling it a strategic move that promises increased developmental opportunities for Deltans. He gave an assurance that the forum would continue to back Governor Bururi, expressing confidence in the governor's ability to fulfill his promises under the new political platform. Olorogun Jan Ogoma appealed to Deltans to continue in their support for the governor's more agenda, emphasizing that it remains active and will only be enhanced under the new political alignment. The presidency has directed security agencies in the country to crack down on any websites, platforms, or individuals who spread fake news without confirming the story's authenticity. This follows a viral report on social media that President Bola Tinubu has sacked some ministers in his cabinet. A special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanoga, in a statement called on security agencies to criminalize fake news. Mr. Onanoga said there would not be press freedom and freedom of speech when anyone can concoct news or narratives without regard for truth. Meanwhile, the viral story Fist, published by an online media outfit with the headline, "Breaking: Tinubu sacks Ministers of Defense and Power," claims that the president has fired Power Minister Adebayo Adelabu and the duo of Alhaji Mohammed Abubakar and Alhaji Bello Matawale, who are Minister of Defense and Minister of State for Defense. However, the presidency has described the story as false. Workers in the public and private sectors in the state will tomorrow join their counterparts in other parts of the world to mark the International Workers' Day or the International Labour Day. The International Labour Organization ILO instituted the day to appreciate workers' untiring contributions to national development. Workers' unions affiliated to the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) will converge on the Senate of Asaba at 10 a.m. in especially designed clothes and face caps to participate in march bursts and singing of solidarity songs to mark the Workers' Day. Leaders of the two core unions will deliver speeches, drawing attention to workers' plight and the need for governments at all levels to work towards giving workers a better deal. The state government, the Right Honorable Sheriff Oboriori, the state governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff Oboriori will then address workers on the occasion, where he will pledge solidarity with them, especially on welfare matters. The International Labour Day's theme for this year's celebration is reclaiming the civic space in the midst of economic hardship. The federal government has declared tomorrow as a public holiday to mark this year's Workers' Day. The government reiterated the need for peace to drive industrialization and economic growth. The Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, disclosed this in a statement released yesterday on behalf of the federal government. Mr. Tunji-Ojo commended workers for their diligence and sacrifice, noting that workers' efforts are largely responsible for the greatness of the country and the respect Nigeria commands in the Committee of Nations. The minister therefore encouraged workers to raise the bar of the trade to drive and upgrade the bar of governance and make all the people of Nigeria derive maximum benefit from the nation's wealth. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, has asked the customs to do more in its revenue drive while lauding the service's first quarter 2025 revenue collection feat of 1.75 trillion naira. Mr. Idun, who also serves as the Customs Board Chairman, made this known at the 62nd regular meeting of the NCS Board held in Abuja. Minister expressed satisfaction with the service's progress, but emphasized the need to scale up efforts to meet the country's economic demands. He described the board meeting as productive and reaffirmed the importance of open governance and accountability within public institutions. The new management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has fired the managing directors of the 3 refineries under the company's purview. The refineries include the Port Harcourt Refining Company, Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company, and the Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company. Some other senior officials of the national oil firm were also asked to leave. Among them is Mr. Bala Wunti, a former chief of the National Petroleum Investment Management Services, a subsidiary of NNPCL. The new management also asked many officials with 1 year to their various retirement dates to leave. Recall that President Bola Tinubu, in a sudden move on April 2, sacked the former NNPCL Group Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Mele Kyari, and other board members of the National Oil Company as part of a broader overhaul to boost Nigeria's crude and gas outputs. The Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, has announced resumption of the Warri Takpe train service, WITS, following a temporary suspension caused by technical and operational challenges. In a statement, the NRC confirmed that full operations resumed with trains set to run 6 days a week starting tomorrow. The revised schedule will see the service operates Monday through Wednesday and Friday through Sunday, while Thursdays will be reserved for routine maintenance. The service had been suspended on April 10 this year, prompting concerns among regular commuters and travelers who depend on the vital rail link between Delta and Kogi states. And still to come on the Delta Television main news, U.S. President Donald Trump marks 100th day of second-term celebrations win, attacks political rivals. Details of this and more shortly. Stay with us. Thank you for staying on. You're watching the Delta Television main news. And next is the global scene as we join our World News Desk.
The United States President, Mr. Donald Trump, has celebrated the 100th day of his second term in office with a campaign-style speech, touting his achievements and targeting political foes. Hailing what he called a revolution of common sense, President Trump told a crowd of supporters in Michigan that he was using his presidency to deliver profound change. The Republican mocked his Democratic predecessor, Mr. Joe Biden, and aimed fresh criticism at the U.S. Federal Reserve's chairman, while dismissing polls that showed his own popularity slipping. He had delivered a dramatic fall in the number of migrants crossing illegally into the U.S., but the economy is a potential political vulnerability as he wages a global trade war. Thousands of Vietnamese celebrated the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War today in what the country's communist leader said was a victory of faith. Celebrations culminated in a grand parade in Ho Chi Minh City, with thousands of marching troops and an air show featuring Russian-made fighter jets and helicopters as Vietnamese waved red flags and sang patriotic songs. The historic anniversary commemorates the first act of the country's reunification on April 30, 1975, when the communist-run North Vietnam seized Saigon, the capital of the US-backed South, renamed Ho Chi Minh City, shortly after the war in honor of the North's founding leader. The fall of Saigon about 2 years ago, after Washington withdrew its last combat troops from the country, marked the end of a 20-year conflict that killed some 3 million Vietnamese and nearly 60,000 Americans, many of them young soldiers conscripted into the military. Swedish police have arrested a teenager after a fatal triple shooting in the city of Uppsala. The shooter fled on a scooter following the attack in a hair salon in the center of the city, triggering a manhunt. Police confirmed that the person arrested for the shooting was under the age of 18, adding that all 3 victims were aged between 15 and 20 years old. The region's chief of police, Mr. Eric Ackerlund, said their identities had not been 100% confirmed. The police were investigating the possibility that the deaths were related to gang crime. According to the reports, one of those murdered at the hair salon was known to the police. The victim was involved in a police investigation over a planned attack against a relative of gang leader Ismail Abdul. The person was never charged. Mr. Abdul, nicknamed Jod Guben or the Strawberry, was a well-known gang leader.
Back home, the Nigerian Police Force Delta State Command has declared some persons missing and has requested for information from the public that could lead to their location. A statement from the command listed the missing persons to include one Precious Akobundu of 11 Duke Odiache Street off Nebisi Road, Asaba, 17-year-olds Annie Quincy Nkemakolam of 5 Felix Sanika Street, Asaba, 18-year-old Sarah Okoma of Kentucky Street, Oduke, Asaba, and 19-year-old Favor Ejero Oluru of Idiaragbe Street, Okumagba Layouts in Warri. The police also declared one Chinagorom Onyebuchi of 14, Ezio Nuamaka Bonsak, Asaba, and Chief Joseph Ogbe of Amusement Park, Asaba, missing. In another development, the command has announced the location of a missing child who gave her name as Esther Dixon. She was said to have been located on the Abraka Road by Owanta Aliosimi Road, Bojibochi Owabo. The statement has requested members of the public to contact the nearest police station if they have information on the missing persons and the recovered child. The Corporate Affairs Commission CAC said it is a criminal offense under Section 863 of the Compliance and Allied Matters Act 2020 to carry on business in Nigeria as a company, limited liability partnership, limited partnership, or under a business name without registration under the Act or by a name or acronym other than the name or acronym by which the business was registered under the Act. In a statement signed by the CAC management, the public should note that Section 729 of the Act requires every company registered under the Act to state its name as registered and registration number outside every place where it carries on business. It added that, in view of the foregoing, every company limited liability partnership and business name proprietors are hereby required to ensure full compliance with the above requirements of the Act within 6 weeks of this notice, failing which the Commission shall take all necessary steps, including prosecution or enforce compliance. The global attitude, or rather the global appetite for seafood, including shrimps, crabs and prawns, is creating a substantial export opportunity for Nigerian entrepreneurs. A 2024 report by the Food and Agricultural Organization FAO revealed that global seafood consumption reached a staggering 162.5 million tons in 2021, with exports exceeding $120 billion last year. The surge was driven by an expanding health-conscious population and the conveniences of seafood. The FAO projects that seafood production must increase by 22% by 2050 to meet growing global demands. According to Professor Ochang Stephen, Nigeria possesses all the fundamental elements to transform into a major hub for shrimp production and export across Africa. However, he cautioned that realizing this potential hinges on effectively tackling existing industry challenges. And in sports, Premier League clubs Crystal Palace, Everton and Fulham have Leicester City midfielder Wilfred Ndidi on their radar ahead of the summer transfer window. Ndidi is expected to Leicester City this summer following the Foxes' relegation to the Sky Bet Championship. His Rolls-Royce relegation was confirmed after a 1-0 loss to newly crowned champions Liverpool 2 weeks ago. A Nigeria international has a £9 million release clause in the 3-year contract he signed last summer. Saudi Pro League outfit Al Ahly also reportedly interested in the midfielder. And away from sports, the remains of a former deputy governor of the state, Professor Amos Otuama, have been laid to rest in his residence at Otu Jeremy in Ughelli South local government area. Governor Sheriff Boriwori and his wife, Deaconess Tobori Boriwori, were among dignitaries that witnessed his interment. Earlier, at the Sacred Heart Catholic Cathedral in Warri, a solemn requiem mass held in his honor. The mass attracted dignitaries from within and outside the state, including former governors Chief James Sibori and Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, Senator Ede Dafinoni, Senator Joel Ondowakwa Thomas, Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Emomoti Migwo, as well as senior legal professionals, clergymen, and top government functionaries. In his tribute, Governor Boriwori described Professor Otuama as an illustrious delta and elder statesman whose life was marked by service, integrity, and intellectual brilliance. He recalled Professor Otuama's years of public service as Attorney General, Commissioner for Justice, and later as Deputy Governor, while he was alive, and lauded his commitment to good governance and the rule of law. Governor Boriwori remarked that Professor Otuama was an authority in land law while he was at the University of Lagos, and urged his family to be consoled by the legacies he left behind. In his homily, the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Iseluku, the Most Reverend Michael Ilue, charged Christians to prepare for their last journey on earth, saying that death was an inevitable end of all mortal. He extols the Christian values exhibited by Professor Otuama while he was alive and prayed to God to console the family. Professor Amos Otuama, a senior advocate of Nigeria, passed away at the age of 77. He is survived by children and relatives. Meanwhile, political heavyweights and other dignitaries attended an emotional service of songs held in Professor Otuama's honor at Otu Jeremy in Ughelli South. Governor Sheriff Boriwori, his wife, Deaconess Tobori, a former governor of the state, Chief James Sibori, Senator Ede Dafinone, Senator Joel Ondowakwa Thomas, Honorable Francis Wivey, Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Emomoti Migwo, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Arthur Akwawowo, and 2023 PDP governorship aspirant, Olorogo David Deve, attended the event. They paid tributes to the legacy of Professor Otuama, describing him as a great scholar and statesman while he was alive. At the Virgin Mass held at St. Andrew's Catholic Church, Otu Jeremy, Governor Buruwari stressed the need for unity of the Urhobo political class and expressed optimism that the passing of Professor Utuama would bring peace and unity to Ughelli South and the entire Urhobo nation. Speaking on recent political developments in the state, Governor Buruwari said the All Progressives Congress APC in the state would welcome a former governor of the state, Chief James Ibori, into its fold to advance peace and unity in the party and the states at large. In his exhortation, the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Warri, the Most Reverend Anthony Ewerido, affirmed that the late Professor Amos Utuama lived an impactful life in the eyes of the Church and the society at large. Speaking on behalf of the family, son of the deceased, Mr. Ovie Utuama thanked all for the support and requested prayers for the family to bear the loss of the patriarch of the family. May his soul rest in peace. Amen. An elder statesman and former military governor of the defunct southeastern states, now Cross River and Akwa Ibom states, retired General Paul Ufoma Omu, is dead. This family confirmed the death in a statement. General Omu, who hailed from Igbidi in Isoko South local government area, died at the age of 84. His eldest son, Mr. Ogenekome Omu, said their departed father lived a fulfilled life and served Nigeria with his best. General Omu is survived by his wife, Senator Stella Omu, children, and relatives. That's our news. Here's the thought for the day. Do not trust those that do not have confidence in you. And just before we go, here are the highlights of the news. Community leaders have been advised to be truthful to their youths on land boundary issues to avoid promoting crisis in their areas. The special advisor to the state governor on peace building and conflict resolution, Chief Edwin Uzo, gave the advice during a fact-finding mission to Uveri Olomo and Agodo communities in Ughelli South and Burutu local government areas over land boundary disputes. Workers in the public and private sectors in the state will tomorrow join their counterparts in other parts of the world to mark the International Workers' Day or the International Labour Day. Workers' unions affiliated to the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC and the Trade Union Congress TUC will converge at the Senate of Asaba at 10 a.m. Especially designed cloth face caps to participate in march bursts and singing of solidarity songs to mark the Workers' Day. And we also reported that the presidency has directed security agencies in the country to crack down on any websites, platforms, or individuals who spread fake news without confirming the story's authenticity. This follows a viral report on social media that President Bola Tinubu has sacked some ministers in his cabinet. And from abroad, we did report that U.S. President Donald Trump marks 100th day of second-term celebration wins and attacks political rivals. That's our news. Thank you so much for being a part of it. On behalf of the entire news crew, Joy Ochei is my name. Good night.
Do you know you can now attend a court section in Delta State without ever stepping into a courtroom? Now, Delta State is stepping forward with tech-driven justice. With the Sheriff in town championing the MORE agenda, the Ministry of Justice and the judiciary are bringing trials to the people faster, smarter, and more inclusive.